Yeah.
My point
That was
is,
a funny
because of
question.
my trauma, I don't trust any man, no matter.
You only gave $10, buddy. You need to step up your
But
game, and then we'll talk about your
Here's my issue with that, though. Here's my issue with that is, what if we extend this justification to race? Say somebody's been traumatized by a black person. Does your statement that you made about men all of a sudden transmute into a racist one if you say, well, I've had trauma from black people, therefore I think this about black people? Is it racist?
Definitely.
So are you sexist against men?
I guess this specific view comes from trauma, and it is misandry.
Oh, it is misandry.
Yeah, which is
You're-
sexist.
Are you
Yes.
a misandrist?
Not generally, no, but I think when it comes to trusting men, my trust for men's at a 0, which could be viewed as sexist or misandrist. You know?
Okay, so you would,
So I'll
you would
admit it.
consider yourself misandrist then?
That's not necessarily what I said.
Well, okay, in some, you don't take on the title in total,
no,
but
no.
you have misandrist positions. Is that
One,
more-
which is my lack of trust for men. I think in any other regard, no, but I think I've had a lot of negative experiences with men that makes me think that way. And I think misogynistic men also have trauma with women that make them misogynistic.
I think also statistically though, like your point of view is supported, because you can fact check me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure 82% of like minors who get assaulted are women, and 90% of like assault cases are women, and like more than 95% of sexual assaulters are men. So I feel like if you do have like a distrust for men, like it is backed by statistics.
Yeah, but this justification, even if it is the case, and mind you, a lot of these, these stats are misrepresented. They can oftentimes be false. But just for the sake of argument, I'll go ahead and grant that, yeah, men are overrepresented in certain crime statistics. Sure, let's grant it. We'll grant it. It's probably true, although I do think a lot of these statistics are mischaracterized. For example, women will say, well, the majority of people who commit the crime of rape are men. Well, if by the definition, the criminal legal definition of rape prevents women from being deemed as committing that crime, while we as a society might say, well, somebody who's, like a woman who takes advantage of somebody, like we would call her a rapist. Criminally, it doesn't always work out that way. So if you actually look in these jurisdictions, women can't be convicted for the crime of rape.
Are you joking?
No.
Are you joking?
That's fucked up. I'm just saying, that's really fucked up.
You can look into it. So if the crime of rape, you as the perpetrator have to penetrate them, then women, I guess technically, like if you were to stick, I don't want to get detailed. If you want to like put your finger, whatever, like if you penetrate somebody as a woman without their consent, under that circumstance, but like, for example, made to penetrate wouldn't constitute rape. That's just how it is. But so when these statistics are presented, and
Can
look,
I see the definition? Am I allowed to fact check you? Like, I'm sorry. I just that's mind blowing.
Do you think it's not the case?
I think it's so fucked up. That's fucked up.
Yeah, it is fucked up. But
Yeah.
it is the case in a lot of jurisdictions
where
women can't be found criminally liable, criminally guilty for the
It's harder.
the crime of rape.
Definitely harder.
I think unless they become
They
pregnant.
can be found guilty of other sex crimes, but the specific crime of rape,
Yeah.
in certain jurisdictions, you have to penetrate.
But
There's a penetrative component.
with something of your own body parts. I mean, you can penetrate a man with something
so
forcibly.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
But like, for example, like if a woman like holds a guy's arms down and he's clearly not consenting,
Right.
and she has a gun,
Yeah.
and she forces him to penetrate her under threat, like coercive or violence,
Yeah, that's different.
that would not be considered rape.
Yeah.
It would be considered some other sex
But
crime.
if she held him down and forcibly penetrated him
Yeah,
with
if-
something,
yes.
would that be rape?
Yes.
My
Or is that-
understanding, yes, that would
or
be
is that-
rape.
okay.
But most rapes that, well, I would view it as rape if a woman forces a man to penetrate her. But criminally speaking,
They're saying no reverse rape. Reverse rape doesn't exist, is what they're saying.
well, there, and by the way, the definitions vary by jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, to the central point, you were saying a little bit of a tangent there. You were saying, well, it is the case that men commit these crimes more frequently. Well, my first point would be it's a really small proportion of men. And so while it is in this, I'll grant it, while it might be true that men commit these crimes more frequently, a really, really small percentage of men commit these crimes. And I think it is bigotry to attribute to the group the behavior of a criminal minority of that group. In the same way, like, for example, the other complexity here is it then creates the opening, I guess you could say, for racists to say, well, hold on, this race commits more crimes than this race. This minority group commits more crimes than Asian people. And there are crime statistics that do account for race, right? Well, they factor this in. And so what is stopping an Asian person from justifying their racism towards black people by saying, well, hold on. And by the way, when it comes to almost all crimes across the board, Asian people commit these crimes the least, right? But they could look to white people. They could look to black people. They could look to Hispanic people and say, well, hold on, I'm Asian. Black people commit these violent crimes more frequently than Asian people do. You would agree, though, that to say, make some sort of blanket general statement about black people would be racist, right? Oh, do you? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you're like, I'm fine with it, actually.
No. I'm not racist.
No, but would you would agree that it wouldn't be fair to paint all black people as, to start having bigotry or contempt or racist sentiment towards black people, despite the factual crime statistics that per capita, they do engage in certain crime more than other races.
What's the? I
Well,
kind of forgot the question, but I'm.
We
just
were
saying.
talking about.
Yeah.
It sounded like you were saying, well, she's kind of justified, even if she didn't have her own trauma. I have stats. I have crime statistics, and it shows that men commit these crimes more often than women. 98% of perpetrators of this crime are men, and you're essentially trying to get to, well, that's the justification for women's lack of trust in men, or whatever it is, bigotry. The difference is I would say, while we can acknowledge that crime statistics are true and that there are discrepancies between men and women, even between races, that I would never go, even though, for example, black people commit more violent crime than whites or Asians. I would never say, well, we should treat the entire group, we should treat this entire group and appraise them generally, and appraise an individual black person who we don't know anything about as potentially being more violent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a counter to this, or, well, do you want to revise your position, or do you think what do you think?
I don't know. I don't really have any more comments on it.
But I mean, so I guess what were you trying to get at by saying, well, men commit these crimes more?
I just wanted to bring up the statistic that it is a 90% plus statistic for sexual assault, and that it's committed by men. So if you do take that into account, not saying that all men do this or that women can't be sexual predators. I'm just saying that I would understand why she has trust issues just based on statistical, maybe her own experiences.
Can I ask you this, though? If a white person had their own individual traumatic experience with a black person, maybe one, maybe two, maybe three, and then they also showed you, hey, look at these crime statistics right here, would you understand their racism?
Not really.
Like,
no.
do you think their racism is justified?
No.
So why is sexism towards men justified?
I don't think it's sexism. I think
What is
it's
it?
just.
Well, you tell me what it is.
I wouldn't call it sexism. I'm not saying that all men are like.
Well, here was your framing. You said you understand why she doesn't trust. Was that the right word? She doesn't trust men. Well, I'll just use the exact same language, but input race. Would you say you understand a white person who doesn't trust black people because they've been victimized by a black person, and they would show you, they can show you, trust me, crime statistics that show that black people per capita commit certain crimes disproportionately and commit crimes more often than white people or Asian people? Would you understand why somebody wouldn't trust a black person?
I guess logically, yes, I would, but for me personally, like, it would be different.
It's different. Well,
it's just different.
but that's where you and me differ. Where I would say, well, no, I don't think you should make generalized statements about black people or any other minority group, just as you shouldn't make these statements about men. I think your position is a bit untenable. You're going to have to either revise your position and say that, you know what, Brian, you're right, we shouldn't make like these bigoted comments or whatever, or like, you know, these attitudes towards men are not really justified, or you're going to have to open the floodgates to justified racism. There's no way around it. I mean, that's the logical extension of your position. I had bad experience with this group of this person who belongs to this group. I have crime statistics that show this group does this, commits X crime more often. That's the opening. So will you stand with me against racism and sexism? Or will you allow for exceptions to sexism and racism so long as somebody has personally been victimized and they can show you crime statistics?
I guess I'll stand with you and not allow any sexism or
Okay,
racism.
all right, there we go. All right, good times. Okay,
Well, I have a question.
into the mic if you can.
Oh, sorry. Would you, are you a feminist?
No.
So you're misogynistic?
Well,
How does that?
it's not one
You
or
don't
the
have
other.
to-
honey.